Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Alex, and in today's video, I'm so excited to bring to you guys the top 10 best weapons for a physical damage Keqing build. If you guys do want to see the Electro Sustained and the Electro Quick Swap builds, then I can also bring you guys those, although I'm not the best as a Electro damage Keqing player. Physical is a lot more free-to-play friendly than Electro builds are. That out of the way, let's go ahead and hop right into the 10th best weapon. So guys, number 10 on the list, we have Harbinger of Dawn. Now, the things that make this a really good weapon as a physical damage build is the critical damage bonus, the critical rate bonus, and it's a 3-star and it's very, very easy to max refine. The cons is that it does have an HP cap, which is 90%. It has a very low base attack, and it's hard to stay above the 90% HP cap, and especially at late game. If this were to be like 60 or maybe even 70%, it might be a viable 3-star weapon, which is insane because it is a 3-star. But because of the 90% HP cap, it's just really not consistent, especially with the low base attack. If you don't have your HP above 90%, you're not going to get your value out of this weapon at all. But that's about it for Harbinger of Dawn. That's why it's number 10 on the list for a physical damage Keqing. Next up, number 9, we have the Flute. And this is a really nice weapon because it does have a nice attack bonus main stat and an attack bonus substat as well. So this is fairly easy to obtain, but it's also a 4-star and you have to get it through wishing, so you have to go through the gacha system to get that. The cons is that it lacks damage output in comparison with other 4-star weapons and free-to-play weapons, and it's also very hard to refine. For instance, the prototype Rancor, which we will get to here in a minute, way outclasses this weapon as a physical damage bonus Keqing build. So the Flute is an okay weapon, honestly, if you don't have anything else, but of course you should have prototype Rancor, which is already better than it. But it still is the number 9 weapon. It's not horrible, but it's also not the best option. Coming up in number 8, we have the Black Cliff Longsword. And this sword is purchased through the Star Glitter shop, which makes it really hard to obtain, because especially for a free-to-play player, because you're only going to have so much Star Glitter, because you're not going to be wishing that much. The good things about this weapon is that it does have a critical damage main stat and an attack bonus on the substat, but the cons is that it's very conditional. For instance, you have to defeat an enemy for the attack bonus. It's not good on bosses or bigger enemies. For instance, unless you're killing like a small enemy like a Helitroll, you're not going to get that insane attack bonus. And it's also very hard to refine, especially for free-to-play or low-cost spenders. So the Black Cliff Longsword overall is an okay weapon, but it's really nothing to write home about. Number 7 on our list, we do have the one, the only, the free-to-play prototype Rancor. Free-to-play players will not shut up about this weapon on their Keqing builds. They always get up my butt about it, but it is a good weapon. I just never cover it because I've never taken time to level it when I have the Black Sword. So, prototype Rancor. The pros is that it has a massive physical damage bonus, which is of course going to raise our physical damage output. It has a really high base attack, especially for a 4-star weapon. I was really surprised with that. And it has a nice attack bonus on the substat, and it's obviously the best free-to-play weapon inside the entire game. For the cons, it is pretty hard to refine if you're not lucky with boss drops. Now, if you are completely free-to-play, I believe you can get it refinement rank 2 without any problems at all, but because of the weird boss system, the weird boss drop system where they hardly ever even drop a weapon, let alone drop a sword, the sword blueprint that you need, it's really not ideal to refine rank it. So mostly if you're a free-to-play player, you're probably going to get this R2 and then just leave it at that, unless you're really lucky with the boss drop. So that's the only drawback to it as a free-to-play weapon, or a 4-star weapon at that. Coming in at number 6, we have the Black Cliff Sword. Now, this is actually my personal favorite sword. This is the sword that I've been using, and I'll get to that in a minute why. But for the pros, we have a high critical rate main stat, an increased normal and charge attack damage on the substat, and it heals off a portion of attack when a crit triggers. So not only does this have a really high crit rate, which makes it easier to build artifacts around, it increases your normal and charge attack on the substat, and it can also heal her up a little bit more. So you don't really need to rely so much on a main healer. The cons is that it has an average base attack, whereas the prototype Rancor actually beats it in its base attack. It's pretty hard to refine, considering that it only comes once a month in the battle pass, and you have to purchase it multiple times. So if you don't feel like spending any money or only feel like buying it once, it can actually be outperformed by the prototype Rancor max refinement. So if you are lucky and you do have more blueprints and you can forge more of them and refine that, then it's probably going to be the better option than the Black Sword. Although the Black Sword's critical rate main stat will make it easier to build artifacts around, which is why I'm using it. And I also have it refinement rank 4. So guys, we're reaching the top 5 on the list. And the number 5 spot actually goes to Lion's Roar. Now this is slightly better than the Black Sword by such a small sliver. Honestly, it just doesn't really matter, but it is a little bit better. That's why it is coming in at number 5. The pros on this weapon is that it has a nice attack bonus main stat, and it increases the damage by enemies affected by Electro. The cons is that it obviously is hard to refine because it's a 4-star weapon. Nothing really to say too much about that. Obviously, the increased damage against enemies that are affected by Electro, and it does have a pretty nice attack main stat. Coming in at number 4 on our list, this is when we are getting into the 5-star weapon, so this is going to be pretty obvious. Number 4, we do have the Skyward Blade. Now, this is surprisingly better than some of these other weapons. I didn't actually expect to see this on the list. The reason why I put it here is because researching it, so it has a high base attack. The substat functions similar to the Crescent Pike. It causes additional instances of damage for every hit from your normal and charge attacks, which deal physical damage, which does scale with your physical goblet and other physical damage bonuses. So if you're using the 2-piece Bloodstain set, it will actually increase your physical damage based on that as well. So that extra attack on the substat will base off of your physical damage bonus, whatever that is, with your physical goblet, and even a set bonus if you're using the 2-piece Bloodstain, which you should be using. The cons is that it doesn't match any of the 5-star weapons, which means it's kind of a waste to get a 5-star to be this slow of a weapon, and it's also really hard to refine. The damage output, I would say the other 4-star weapons like the Black Sword or Lion's Roar, or maybe even Prototype Rancor, I'm not so sure on that one, but those at max refinement actually do beat Skyward Blade. So this is just assuming that all the weapons are refinement rank 1. So the Skyward Blade at R1 does beat any other weapon, or any of the 4-star weapons at R1. Coming in at number 3, we do have the Summit Shaper. Now, this is a pretty good weapon. The pros is that it has a very high base attack, the attack percentage main stat, and the attack bonus substat, which does stack. This has a stack up to 5 times and can occur once every 0.3 seconds. So you can basically keep this up 100% of the time if you wanted to. But the only bad and obviously drawback to all these 5-star weapons is that it is hard to refine. You'll notice that in all these 5-star weapons, it is a very hard to refine weapon because it is a 5-star. But it's actually not a bad option. It's one of the best options in the game for physical damage Keqing. Coming in at number 2, we have none other than the Primordial Jade Cutter. This is one of the best weapons for physical Keqing inside of the entire game because it has a high base attack, a high critical rate, which makes it easier to farm artifacts, obviously, and the attack and HP bonus substat. So it will boost her HP and it will boost her attack based off of her HP. The only bad thing and obviously drawback to this is that it is hard to refine, but the Primordial Jade Cutter actually is the best weapon at max refinement. But considering that all these weapons are at R1, assuming that all these weapons are at refinement rank 1, it's actually not the best, which does lead us to our best and my current favorite weapon for physical Keqing, the Aquila Favonia. Besides the fact that I think this weapon just looks absolutely unmatched, it looks insane compared to any other weapon inside of the entire game. It has an insanely high base attack, a crazy physical damage bonus main stat, an attack bonus substat 20% at refinement rank 1, and an insane healing substat bonus, which is pretty much insane because she can heal herself. This weapon is absolutely insane, especially at R1. At R5, it still is absolutely ridiculous. It's just slightly worse than the Jade Cutter, but it's so slim of a difference you wouldn't even notice. The cons is that it's obviously hard to refine, but if you were lucky enough to pull Aquila Favonia, build good artifacts around her, and she will deal absolutely insane numbers. With that being said, we're gonna wrap this video up. This is the first video that I actually kind of wrote a script for to follow because I do stutter a lot in my videos. I just get lost in my own words and I say and a lot, which makes it really hard to edit. So let me know if you guys like this type of video and want to see more videos like this. Like, subscribe, and comment. Dislike if you dislike. It is me, Alex, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.